Something I wish I knew or was told, well, I'm sure I was told, I just didn't listen, was train your strengths, but don't neglect your weaknesses. I think everyone's heard the term or the saying, train your weaknesses, race your strengths. Personally, I took that too much to heart and spent too much time working on my weaknesses when they never were going to be my strengths. I think everyone has this romanticized ideal that if you work really hard on something you're not good at, eventually you'll get great at it. It could happen, relatively speaking. But if you're fortunate enough to go through life and find out what your strength is, what your gift is, I think everyone in the world is given a gift. The hard part is figuring out what that gift is. So if you're fortunate enough when it comes to human performance or physical performance to be given a physical gift, and you know what it is and you realize what it is, my advice to you is to focus on that strength. Don't ignore your weaknesses, but focus on that strength. Because that strength, that gift you were given, if you hone that, if you work on that, in my case, my gift is to be able to put out tremendous amount of power in a very short amount of time. I've got no endurance, no stamina, and I know this. And when I embraced the fact my gift was just to be able to go very, very, very hard and very fast in a short amount of time, I reached and realized my potential much faster had I just focused on my weaknesses and hoped that they would come up. And what I'd like to tell people is, if you do focus on your strengths, it's a rising tide issue. If you know what your gift is and you work on that, that work, that elevation of that talent will overshadow your weakness, where your weakness is no longer a factor because you're doing so well with that strength. And in my case again, when I was coming back to cycling when I was 37, I wanted to work on all of the things that I never could do well. It was my chance of completing my bucket list. And I worked on the strengths and they got much better. And I'm grateful to have experienced that, because I have that knowledge that I can do something if I put my mind to it. But the thing is if I wanted to be truly great at something, what I was doing was not going to get me there. It was going to get me to be a master, a jack of all trades, not necessarily master, a jack of all trades, but a master of none. So when I finally focused on what I thought was my gift, maximum amount of power in a short amount of time, and became a track racer, I was able to reach that potential. Had I kept on working on those weaknesses and never getting much better in my endurance and stamina, all the time and energy was wasted when I could have been spending it on my strength. So that's my advice to you in a long-winded way. Work on your strengths. Identify your strengths, then work on them, but don't ignore your weaknesses. If I were to give you a time energy split, I would say 70% of your time, maybe even 80, work on your strength. The other 20 or 30%, work on those weaknesses, because again, it goes the other way. A rising tide raises all ships. Working on your weakness will teach you to build character. It will give you a mental break from spending all this time working on your strength. It will make you more well-rounded, but also it'll add to some kind of training benefit of raising everything that will complement that strength of yours. But front load all your effort on that strength. But again, don't ignore that weakness. I hope this helps. If it does or doesn't, please leave a comment, and I'd appreciate it if you'd subscribe. Thanks for watching.